3 races left in the regular season playoffs. NASCAR at Richmond, a short track where usually in previous history, NASCAR fans would be very excited to go to short tracks. But it has been quickly known that with the next-gen car, this car does struggle at short tracks. I don't think we're going to see a fix this season for it, but hopefully NASCAR is working on something for next season. And that's kind of how I summarize this race. I don't think it was a bad race. I don't think it was a good race. It's just what Richmond has been for the last few years, even with the Gen 6 car, which performed better at short tracks than what the next gen car is doing. The Richmond Speedway just isn't delivering, but I still don't know why. Before we go any further, I want to give a shout out to all the Patreon members, as always, for supporting the channel. We do have one new patron, Crinks30. Thank you so much for joining the Patreon. I did see that you joined the Discord as well, so welcome to the Discord and welcome to the Patreon. Thank you for supporting the channel directly. Now, yeah, let's talk about this race, guys. Overall, I like to give my overall thoughts of the race first. And overall, I just thought this was a very average race. One of the, basically all season, I've liked all the races. You could just go watch any race. I mean, it'd be kind of weird if you went back and watched, like, all the race reviews. Like, if you have time to do that, it's kind of weird. But trust me, my word, and if you have been watching weekly on the channel, then you know I have liked almost every single race except for Texas and maybe one or two others. I think it was one. There was one clown show race. Was it Indianapolis Road just a few weeks ago? Yeah, it was that. So Texas, Indianapolis Road was a little bit of a messed up one. This one was just average in my opinion. Comment down below. Let me know if you're with me on that. I love short track racing, and I usually love the track of Richmond, like in a driving perspective, not really a watching perspective. There's two different perspectives. If you look at the Richmond as a driver's perspective, the difficulty it is to come off the corners and having no drive off the corners. This is a really tough driver's track. But then when you watch from a fan's perspective, I don't know if it's camera angles or what, but it just feels, and to be fair, it's slow. It doesn't feel that the action never feels like it's really heating up. The actual racing is just not as good as I know Richmond can be. Now, this was in the day, and usually Richmond is at night, and the day is different. And when the day comes, we saw today that you can have multiple lanes. Now, for me, Richmond, I actually don't like multiple lane Richmond. Anytime there's been a multiple groove race at Richmond, I remember one back in like 2016, 2017, one of those 2 years where it was in the daytime, and I don't like it. I don't like this track, like them running around the wall or something. It just doesn't really appeal to me. I like Richmond as really a one-lane dominant track, and you have to fight for your position. But that's the style of short track racing I like. Even when Bristol in 2008 got repaved, and you had the multi-groove racing, and a lot of people really liked the 3-wide racing you can have at Bristol and stuff like that. I was like, this is not for me. At least I never personally liked what new Bristol became until they started putting the PJ1 on the bottom lane and started making the bottom lane dominant again. Richmond to me is kind of the same way. I want that bottom lane to be dominant. I don't want those 3 lanes because it just spreads everyone out, and the race never feels like it has intensity to it. I think Richmond having 2 race states it's been a little bit overdue for them to not have 2 race states. It's been like this. I mean, guys, we can think about Richmond races in the past for the last 5, 6, 7 years. We kind of always say it. Like, even on Jeff Gluck's poll, it'd be like a 50%, 60%. Like, everyone's kind of split. Like, was it a good race or not? And when it's 50 and 60%, it's not that it's a good race. It's just average. It's an average race. And there's nothing really to do about it. I mean, the racing today, again, the next-gen car, we saw it again. Drivers were talking about it. Whenever they get in dirty air, they just really, really struggle. This does not happen. We had one of the best Michigan races in the last decade last weekend, and we come to Richmond, and I think it really is that rear diffuser. I think the rear diffuser is causing a lot of the problems. And I personally, it worries me for Phoenix, because Phoenix is the championship race, and Phoenix is very similar to something like a Richmond, like, kind of a short track that races like an intermediate track. And I don't see Phoenix being that good, honestly, with this current car. I see it being a very average to below average race. And for that being a championship race, I don't think that'd be very good. I think last season, I was at Phoenix last season, and even then I didn't think it was that great of a race either. So yeah, if they could change something, it'd be great, but due to sporting integrity, I think it'd be really cruel to introduce any changes into the short track package during the final 10 races of the season. So this is just what it's going to be. I'm worried about Martinsville later this season. I'm worried about Bristol. Well, Bristol's a little bit different. Bristol, I think this car can still put on a pretty decent show, but Martinsville, I'm worried about. Phoenix, I'm worried about. I don't know if those races are going to be that good because this car just really, really struggles in dirty air at short tracks, and we've seen enough of a sample size to know that is why it's fantastic everywhere else. Okay, it is fantastic everywhere else, but the slower road courses and short tracks, this thing just struggles, and they need to kind of come up with a solution for it. But talking about the race, I was actually pleasantly surprised to see Joey Logano with a lot of speed. That was the first time I've seen Penske racing with a lot of speed. Logano dominated the majority of the race, but it was the normal front runners up there. Logano was first, Chastain won stage 1, Kyle Larson was second. You know, it was kind of those main runners. Then Larson fell off a cliff in the final stage, and Kevin Harvick came out of pretty much nowhere, drove his way up through the field, and slowly but methodically towards the end of the final stage and towards the end of the race was able to catch Joey Logano and pass Joey Logano cleanly around the outside, and then he would go on to hold on and win the race. And there was not really much other than that. You know, Christopher Bell made a tremendous run. He had fresher tires toward the end of the race due to pit strategy calls. He also did spin out in the final stage as well. So if that never happened, they could have done the same. You know, what could have happened? What could have happened if they were able to get on that strategy but a little bit more track position? He came up 1 lap short. Christopher Bell came up 1 lap short from winning the race. He caught Kevin Harvick coming out of turn 4 in the final lap. He was about 2 car lengths back. If he had 1 more lap, he would have been able to go anywhere he wanted to and likely pass Harvick, unless Harvick put him in the wall or something. He would have been able to do it. So really heartbreaking for Bell, but a very deserved win, back-to-back wins for Kevin Harvick. And you know what they say, this is always the best time to catch fire. I need to see a little bit more, honestly, but I will say, watching that 4 car and Harvick and the Ford, specifically Logano in the Ford, SHR as a whole, Eric Almirola performed well, Cole Custer was running in the top 10. The Fords overall, Ryan Blaney ran well, were really good. And for them to be really good at a track like Richmond, and for Harvick to win at a track like Michigan last week, you're winning at 2 completely different styles of track, 2 completely different packages, and you are winning. So Kevin Harvick now with 2 wins on the season, and you know, I think no one else has more than 2 other than Chase Elliott, so that is huge. I'm actually looking at the NBC broadcast right now in front of me. I'm gonna try to get a picture for you guys and post it on here, but I'm looking at it, and Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex Jr. are 26 points separated from each other. That was a story of the race. And also Chris Buescher. Chris Buescher was also a story of the race. I don't know if Buescher's in the top 30 in points. I think he is. But Chris Buescher, who looked like he could win, he was running in the top 5, running 3rd there towards the end, running 2nd actually towards the end, and could have won. And that would have messed everything up for Ryan Blaney and Truex. It would knock both of them out. But in the current way it is, Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex Jr. are separated by 26 points. Like I said last weekend, they are in a points battle. Truex struggled pretty much for the majority of the race day, and Blaney ran top 10 but struggled towards the end, but never really had the speed that his teammate had. So then they go to Watkins Glen next weekend and Daytona the weekend after that. So what do I think is going to happen? Honestly, I kind of give the advantage at this current moment with a 26-point advantage. I'm leaning, you know, if Truex has a good enough car at Watkins Glen, he can make up that points difference. He can even it going to Daytona if he doesn't win at the Glen. But the thing about the Glen, and the reason why I think Blaney is going to go into Daytona with in really good shape, is that all Blaney has to do is really just not pit during the stages. Like, he can just sacrifice. If Blaney is looking at Truex next weekend and Truex does not have the speed to win, that's all they have to look at. All Ryan Blaney has to do is just stay out. If he just stays out during stage 1 and stage 2, get as many points as he can nullify whatever stage points Truex gets. And then at that point, just finish top 15, top 10, and get out of there. And you will basically maintain or possibly even increase your points total if Truex ends up going for the win and doesn't take the points in the stages and doesn't win the race. You can get like 18 stage points right there. 18 positions in your finishing result right there. that's something where I think right now the points battle, it's Blaney. I think Truex is in a must-win situation because personally, I just don't see him making up that gap unless Blaney just has a really tough road course race. And then when it comes to plate racing, I would put Ryan Blaney as the better plate racer. So I'd expect Blaney to maybe score more points in the stages at Daytona, but I wouldn't, it's Daytona. I'm not going to predict who wins Daytona. It's a crapshoot. Anything can happen. You can have someone like Eric Almirola win, Chris Buescher, Bubba Wallace. Remember, Bubba Wallace is the dark horse here. If he gets Daytona and Blaney and Truex don't win next weekend and Bubba Wallace gets Daytona, he could be the favorite to win that race. So this is just a really interesting fight. But back to today. Let's go through the race results. So it is Harvick, Bell, Chris Buescher, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Logano, Truex, Almirola, Kyle Busch, and Ryan Blaney in the top 10. Really no surprises there. Kyle Busch actually had an eventful day. He ended up actually having some beef with Ty Gibbs. They were racing each other really hard. Ty Gibbs in the 45 again for Kurt Busch. And that was just kind of funny because it's looking more and more likely, even though I think it's kind of a shame, but it is looking more and more likely that Ty Gibbs is going to be in the 18 car next year and that Kyle Busch is going to have to go somewhere else. They just simply cannot find sponsorship or come to an agreement or whatever. So then to see Ty Gibbs and Kyle Busch racing hard, like, you never want to take too much into it in terms of like just racing, like, but if you read between the lines, I think that there's just a little bit of a hint there that that Kyle Busch isn't returning to the 18 and just raced Ty Gibbs hard, and Ty Gibbs raced him hard. And I think, you can't just say just by seeing that Kyle Busch ain't gonna be in the 18, but just take a hint. There's rumors out there that they're not talking anymore. Joe Gibbs Racing and Kyle Busch. So, I don't think he's going to return to that 18 unless some miracle happens in terms of sponsorship. And that's truly, I just find that to be a shame. I think Ty Gibbs is a very good talent, and he should be in the Cup Series next year. But for Kyle Busch to be the sacrifice for that is just, I don't know. At least it doesn't feel right to me. That, like, Kyle Busch is of a level of like a Tony Stewart, of a Jeff Gordon. I know he doesn't have as many wins as Jeff Gordon, but like we're talking about raw talent. Kyle Busch is a Hall of Fame legend, champion driver, and to lose his ride like this when he wants to stay is just, I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way, but that's the business. Gibbs Racing isn't as rich as we all thought. They need sponsorship. They need full sponsorship, and if they don't have that full sponsorship, then I guess Busch can't stay. And that's just it's just a shame, honestly. What's Ty Gibbs sponsorship going to be like? Is Monster going to be just sponsoring like 4 different drivers? Like, I just don't really understand that. So even if Ty Gibbs comes in, it's just because his salary is cheaper. Like, is that it? Is that enough to say? I don't know. But, moving on, if you go down the results a little bit, William Byron's in 11th, 12th is Austin Cindric, 13th Wallace. Kyle Larson fell off the cliff. He fell to 14th. He was running top 3 the whole day, went to 14th. Keselowski, Dillon, two Dillons, the Austin and Ty, in 16th, 17th. Ross Chastain got into an incident as well with Kyle Busch, and I think it was the 42 of Ty Dillon, and I think someone else was involved in that. Truex was involved in that as well, but this one wasn't actually Ross Chastain's fault. He got squeezed. Like, Kyle Busch didn't realize it was going to be 3 wide. Chastain thought he had to give room to Ty Dillon, who was underneath him or peeking the nose down there, and Chastain gets squeezed. And so even though he's involved in this wreck, it wasn't his fault. He just drove into the corner normally and got squeezed. So, yeah, I mean, he shouldn't really deserve any criticism for that. So that's basically your race results. I think that's all the talking points for today. The main talking point still is going to be those playoff wins. I'm actually seeing Kevin Harvick here. I just saw on the broadcast that he has 60 race wins. Didn't realize he had that much. 60 race wins. That is... Like, I thought for some reason Harvick was like in the 40 to 45 range. I didn't realize he had 60. I don't know. That's a ton. So, like, that is really, really impressive. I kind of forgot, like, 2014, 2015, 2016, like when he first went to SHR, how many races he won, and some of the years where he dominated. I forgot how many races he built up and won. So, Harvick, 60 race wins. That's a legend right there. Congratulations to him. And then next up is Watkins Glen and Daytona, guys. Let me know what you think's going to happen. I think Watkins Glen is going to be such an interesting race, honestly. I don't think the next gen car is going to put on the best show at Watkins Glen because we know that dirty air is a thing, so that's going to be a little bit unfortunate. I think Watkins Glen is my favorite road course. I love it. I absolutely love that road course. It's my favorite road course on the schedule. But it's going to be such a fascinating battle. Can Tyler Reddick go for 3 in a row? Can Chase Elliott regain? Well, I mean, you see, he still is the king of road courses. The dude literally competes for the win every road course. He's still the king, even though Reddick's won the last 2. And so we'll see how all that goes. But then the added gamble of not gamble. What's the word I'm looking for? The added what's the added intrigue, added intensity, added drama. Is that the word? Am I looking for drama? Probably. Added drama of Ryan Blaney and Truex. And I'm just gonna be keeping an eye on them because I just want to know what they do. Do you take the stagers? Do you go for the win? And then Daytona. I still don't know if I'm going. If I have someone gotta watch the dog for me. There's a little dude over here underneath my desk. If someone watches him for me for a night, then I think I can go. So we'll see how that goes. But that's gonna be one heck of a night if it doesn't rain, which it's late in August at Daytona. It always rains. So there's a better chance of it raining than not. Take care of yourselves. I will see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully, if this does go up Sunday night, which it should, enjoy your night and enjoy your next week. Hopefully everything's well, and take care of yourselves. Peace out.